Hey guys, this is Trav Max Fun and welcome back to my channel, and today I am back with another D23 Expo 2022 predictions video. My last video was the start of my D23 Expo 2022 predictions video series, and my first D23 2022 predictions video was my Pixar, Walt Disney Animation, and Disney Television predictions. So you can go check out that video. But this is the second video in this video series, and today's predictions I'm going to be giving are my predictions for the Walt Disney Studios movies. So today's video is going to be my predictions for the Walt Disney Studios movies. So my predictions today are going to be, in this video, are going to be my predictions for the Walt Disney Studios movies. So Walt Disney Studios, the studio that makes the movies, theatrical, and Disney Plus. So I'm going to be giving you guys my predictions on what could be talked about and announced for the studio at D23. And just a few, just want to say a couple of things. First off, I probably missed a couple of things I probably missed a couple of movies, but that's fine, because Walt Disney Studios has a lot of movies that are coming and are reportedly in development, both theatrically and for Disney Plus. And secondly, not everything that I'm going to be talking about in this video is going to be talked about and or announced at D23. These are just my predictions on the movies that have a good chance of being talked about at D23. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright, we are going to begin with Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, I know this is a 20th Century Studio film and not a Walt Disney Studio film, but I still decided to include this film on here because this is a highly anticipated film, and this is the sequel to the biggest, highest grossing box office movie of all time, and this is a big movie coming out very, very soon. So this is a very big movie, so I decided to include it in my predictions, and I'm sure that Avatar: The Way of Water will be talked about at D23, and there is a panel where Marvel and Lucasfilm will be. There is going to be a panel at D23 where Marvel and Lucasfilm will be sharing their announcements. Also at that panel, 20th Century Studios will be sharing their announcements as well. Avatar: The Way of Water. Avatar: The Way of Water. I think it's very, very possible that we will be getting the second trailer for this film at D23. And it would really make the most sense. Of course, we're in September and the film comes out in December. Now, they might wait and release the second trailer either in October or November, but since D23 is this month, and this is Disney's big event, and this is a very big movie coming out soon, I think it's very possible they could debut the second trailer at D23. So, and I want to talk about Avatar 3 here, which releases in 2024. I think it's possible they might reveal the title for that film, but we'll see, because maybe the title for Avatar 3 is a little bit of a spoiler for something that happens in Avatar: The Way of Water. But we'll just have to wait and see. But I think it's very possible that we could get our second trailer for Avatar: The Way of Water and the title for Avatar 3 at D23. Alright, next up is the new Haunted Mansion film releasing next year, and I think it's very, very likely that this film will be talked about at the Expo. It comes out in March of 2023, and I think it's very likely we'll be getting our first look and possibly our first trailer for this film. I don't know if they would want to wait and release the first trailer for the film in October, because that would be the perfect time to release the first trailer, Halloween. But once again, since this is D23, they could very well, it's possible they could release the first trailer. But maybe they'll debut the first trailer just for the people attending the event, and then a month later they'll release it publicly online. But I think it's very, very, very likely that this film will be talked about, and we will be getting our first look of this film at D23. Another film releasing next year in May is the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, and just like Haunted Mansion, I think this film is also very, very, very likely to be talked about at D23, and I think we will be getting our first look of the film. I think we'll get our first look at the characters, so Ariel, Prince Eric, King Triton, Ursula, Sebastian, Scuttle, Flounder, all those characters. I think we will be getting our first looks at, and I don't think they're going to release a first trailer for the film. Maybe they'll debut a trailer for the film just for the people attending D23, but I think the first trailer for this film is still a little bit too early, because the film releases in May and it's only September. But I do think that we will be getting at least first look images of this film at D23. But I think it's very, very, very likely that this film will be talked about at D23. Alright, next up we have another live-action remake, and that is the live-action Snow White remake. They are making a live-action remake to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I believe the film has wrapped up filming, but we still don't have a release date. We don't have a release date for the film, or know any details about the film and all that. But D23, I think we will be getting the release date for this film, which my guess, I think this film will be releasing next year. That's just my prediction, but it seems very likely that this film will release next year. It's already wrapped up filming, so I think it's very likely that it will release next year. And I think it's very, very likely we will get a release date for this film at D23, and possibly even a first look, at least first look images of the film and details of the film as well. Alright, next up is the Lion King live-action prequel. So they are making a prequel movie to the live-action Lion King remake, and it's going to focus on Mufasa, and I think at D23 it's very likely that we will get some info on this film. I think we'll get a title for the film, a release date, and details on this film at D23. So yeah. Next up is Cruella 2, the Cruella sequel, and I think it's also pretty likely that we might get some info on this as well, get a title, release date, and details for the film. So yeah. Next up is Maleficent 3. I also think there's a good chance that we will get a Maleficent 3 announcement at D23, get a title, details, maybe even a release date, but I think we will get a Maleficent 3 announcement at D23. we might also get an update on the live-action Aladdin sequel, the sequel to the live-action Aladdin remake. I think, we might get an update on that. So yeah. And then, I think it's also very possible that we might get an update on the Jungle Book to the live-action Jungle Book sequel. I really do hope we get an update on this film. This film has been confirmed to be happening for a while now, but we have not gotten anything on this film besides that it will be happening. But maybe at D23, maybe this is the time where we might get info on this film and some details on the film as well. So fingers crossed that we will get some info on this film, but I really do hope we get an update on the Jungle Book 2. Next up is the live-action Hercules remake, and I also think it's very likely we'll get some info on this film. The Russo brothers are producing this film, and Guy Ritchie, who directed the live-action Aladdin remake, is set to direct this film. So I think it's also pretty likely that we will get some info on this film, get some casting for the characters, so Hercules, Meg, Phil, Hades, Zeus, and maybe even a release date too, and of course some more details on the film too. So I think it's pretty likely we'll get some info on this live-action remake. Next up, I think it's very possible we might get updates on these live-action remakes that are confirmed to be happening and are in the works. The live-action remakes of Bambi, the Aristocats, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Lilo and Stitch. All those films are set to be getting live-action remakes, and D23, it's very possible that we might get official announcements and details on these live-action remakes. Next up is the Jungle Cruise sequel. So there is a Jungle Cruise sequel in the works, and it's very possible that we might get a title, a release date, and details on this sequel at D23. So yeah. Then we have the Tower of Terror movie that is in the works. Scarlett Johansson is set to star in it, and Taika Waititi is set to direct it. I also think that this has a very likely chance to be talked about at the expo, get a release date and details. So yeah. There is also a live-action Space Mountain movie in the works, and I also think it's pretty likely, possibly, we might get release date, details, info on this film as well. A film that was just reported to be happening a couple weeks ago is a live-action Big Thunder Mountain movie. So there is a Big Thunder Mountain movie in the works with Bert and Birdie, I believe. Sorry if I got those names wrong. But the directors that directed a couple episodes of Hawkeye are directing this film. And with this film being reported to be happening, or being announced, I guess, just a couple weeks before D23, it's very likely that we might get some more details, info on this film as well. Next up is the Pirates of the Caribbean film that's going to star Margot Robbie. We've heard that this film that will star Margot Robbie is happening, and D23, we could possibly hear an official announcement, get a title, details, and maybe even a release date. As for a Pirates of the Caribbean 6, maybe we could get an announcement of Pirates of the Caribbean 6, but I don't think that's going to happen. Although, the Pirates of the Caribbean film that's going to star Margot Robbie. I think that has the more likeliest chance to be talked about than a Pirates of the Caribbean 6. Next up is Tron 3. I don't know if this film is still happening or not, but maybe at D23 we'll get a confirmation that this film will still be happening, and maybe we'll get title, release date, and details on this as well. Then we have National Treasure 3, which seems like it's going to be happening, and I think it's very possible we could get an official announcement and maybe even a title for National Treasure 3. Next up is Hocus Pocus 2, which is releasing later this month on Disney+. I think it's 100% likely that they will talk about this film a little bit at D23. And also, I think we could get... I think it's very likely we'll get a second trailer at D23 for the film. So I think Hocus Pocus 2 will be talked about at D23. 100% likely that it will be talked about at D23. Then we have Disenchanted, and I also think that this film has a 100% chance of being talked about at D23 as well, and I think there's also a 100% chance that we will get our first trailer for this film at D23, or even on Disney Plus Day as well. Then we have Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Rodick Rules. This was a film that was confirmed to be happening. It was announced on Disney Plus Day last year, and it was confirmed to be releasing this year in 2022, so I think it's very likely that we will get a release date and a trailer for this film at D23. Then we have the animated Night at the Museum movie. This film was also, I believe, confirmed to be releasing this year, so I think it's pretty likely that we'll get a release date, trailer, details on this film at D23 as well. I also think there's a possibility we could get updates on the Three Men and a Baby reboot and Sister Act 3. These two films were announced on Disney Investor Day in 2020, but since then we barely haven't gotten any more updates and details on these two films, but D23 might be the place where we will get more info on these two films. Then we have Peter Pan and Wendy, another live-action remake that will be coming to Disney+. It was supposed to be releasing this year, I believe, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to release in 2023, but I think this film has a very likely chance of being talked about at D23. I think we'll get a release window or date for when this film will release, and also maybe a trailer too. Next, we have the live-action Robin Hood remake, which will be releasing on Disney+, and that's basically all we know. But D23, we might get some details, logo reveal on this film. Another film that we haven't heard anything about in a while is the live-action Sword in the Stone remake. This film was announced a couple years ago before Disney Plus was released, and this was supposed to be released on Disney Plus, but since then we haven't gotten any more updates or news on this film. But D23, maybe we'll get an update on this film then. Yeah. There is also a live-action Matterhorn Bobsleds movie in the works for Disney Plus, which will be based off the Matterhorn Bobsleds ride at Disneyland. And we could possibly get some details on this film as well. Speaking of Disneyland, there is also a movie about the making of Disneyland in the works for Disney Plus, with the Halloween director, the 2018 Halloween director, David Gordon Green, set to direct the film. Yeah. And since D23 is kicking off the Disney 100 celebration in Disneyland Park, was the first ever Disney theme park to open. Maybe we'll get some updates, details, a title for this film at D23. So that would be cool if we did. Then we have the Mickey Mouse documentary Disney Plus film. I think it has a title already, but I don't know. I think it has a title already, but I don't know what the title is. But there's a documentary about Mickey Mouse releasing on Disney Plus, and there's actually going to be a panel dedicated to this documentary at D23. So I think it's very 100% likely that we will get a trailer for the documentary and maybe even a release date as well. There is also a Descendants spin-off movie in the works for Disney Plus as well. So maybe at D23 we'll get some more details and so maybe at D23 we'll get some more details on this spin-off movie. Then I think there's a good chance that we might get a Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers sequel announcement at D23 as well. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers was a film that released on Disney Plus earlier this year, and there's a good chance that a sequel might happen, and maybe at D23 we'll get an official announcement that a sequel will happen. So it would be really cool if we did. As for other things that I could see being announced at D23, we could get some more live-action remakes announced, maybe even some more movies based off Disney attractions announced, and maybe even some original movies, both theatrically and for Disney Plus as well. That would be really cool. And that concludes, that finishes today's D23 Expo 2022 predictions video, my Walt Disney Studio D23 predictions. Let me know in the comments down below what your predictions are for the Walt Disney Studio movies for D23. And yeah, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this prediction video. My next D23 prediction video will be my Lucasfilm predictions, so Star Wars, Willow, Indiana Jones, all that. So stay tuned for that predictions video. And yeah, so that's it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time on Trav Max Fun. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.